of social media. We haven't Yenode land people are wasting. We haven't done that yet. Absolute insanity. Missed any of those conversations? Pick up the podcast shortly. That hosted at WRQK.com. Aside from that, I am done for the day. Will not be back live until tomorrow. Stay safe out there. Be good to one another. Be on the lookout for April Fool's jokes, man. And do, in fact, meet me here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for Tuesday's program on Rock 106.9. Hopefully you have a decent afternoon and
straightened out or
around town.
Yeah.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water.
Did you have to bring that with you?
Because it's so big.
Yeah, I only have
If you
one.
want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water.
Yeah.
The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom.
Still gotta have a restrictive diet and everything. I can have stuff like
Pay for clean.
pizza or pasta,
If it's
just
gotta
not
be clean,
too, like
it's
just
gotta
not
be
every
Tide
day.
Pods.
Water content based on the leading volume liquid detergent.
All right. So, well, we're having a surprise party for your grandpa Sunday. Yeah.
Tell me, oh, hey, they're going to open up a show you want to go to?
For the past week.
That's pretty good bonus.
I've been on a bland diet.
That's pretty good bonus here. You know what?
For his retirement and everything.
Yeah,
he's not working.
I bet this is one of those songs you don't know the name of, but when I play it, you're like, oh man, I forgot about that one.
We're gonna have a meat tray there and stuff
like one of those
sandwiches
OS records. Like, oh, dude, I forgot about that.
Someone's making rigatoni.
Yeah, this was a pretty good one.
So there'll be plenty of food there. It's just
I kind of like that one a lot. Now, obviously, I think most people probably know them and would refer to Soul Asylum as a one-hit wonder over this.
Get some stuff for you for tomorrow or whatever. Yeah.
And I think, wasn't he dating Courtney Cox at some point? I think he was doing that.
But, yeah, I can...
That was a smash.
I can go back
to away from that song.
Other stuff as well.
I kind of like this one, too. This one, I was always a big fan of this one.
Too often. Yeah.
Black Gold, that one's all right. I kind of like Soul Asylum, dude.
My mom said I probably shouldn't have stuff like that more than...
them, I guess, in the collective soul region,
2 or 3
right?
times
A little
a
bit
week.
of that.
Yeah.
They kind of, a little bit of a band like that. I always thought they were pretty good. All right, so it is Good Friday, and I have not made mention of that yet. So there that is. It is Good Friday. We have Easter right around the corner come Sunday.
Had to get...
And I just got asked this in the hall.
Take the same stuff for it.
A sales guy of mine said, your dad was a minister, right? I said, was Good Friday a big deal? For you guys growing up? I was like, well, yeah, it's a pretty big one.
When is your graduation?
This is when the crucifixion.
That's not until next year, I don't believe.
And so there was a Good Friday service.
This year?
No,
I'm in 11th.
But I told him, I was like, Easter was really the day. As a matter of fact, once my brother and I got old enough to where we weren't going every Sunday with them, and we were being defiant, and now that one of them is gone, I really wish I wouldn't have done that. Really wish I wouldn't have.
This year, they're great.
But once we got old enough, we're like, we're not going.
Your school schedule messes
Sunday morning, I'm going to sleep. Right?
Ours
once we
is
got
year
there,
round. We go by
the Mother's Day.
Yeah.
We knew.
Our school year ends sometime
show up for your
around
like
October,
that was like, as a matter of fact, he didn't have to tell us. It was like, we just knew, no matter where we were, no matter what,
starts up again.
Our asses will be there in the front pew come Mother's Day to show Sue her respect. That was like Dean's rule. You will respect my wife. Like, she's my mom. She was my wife first. You will show her respect. And so, like, we just kind of knew. And Easter was another one of those where it's like, all right. This is a big one for Pops. Let's show up, right? You know what I mean? So we'd go, and it was like kind of one of those. But we, I would go to the Good Friday, service as well. And I did see this last week, where apparently moms now are complaining that we've turned Easter into Christmas too. Apparently some of you are going elaborate gifts for Easter. Now, I grew up, it was a basket of candy, you know what I mean? And my mom would maybe throw a couple of packs of baseball cards in my brother's basket for David, because that's what he was into. And there would probably be like a G.I. Joe figure in mine, you know what I mean? But like one, it wasn't like, hey, here's the aircraft carrier for, Easter. My parents were pretty good to us for Christmas. It's a little bit of a different holiday there. But I guess moms are saying we're turning Easter into Christmas part 2, and I'm not surprised. And yes, I'm going to go up and ring the bell. I always do. I believe that's probably a social media issue, right? That people are still trying to go a little viral, get the engagement going. Look at what we're doing for this holiday. Look at what my kids are opening. Look at this. I kind of feel like that. Even if you know you're going to get a little hate on it, it's the engagement feels good. Now your numbers are up. Oh my God, maybe I can turn on monetization and make money versus going to work tomorrow. And I feel like a lot of that goes into this. Now, what got said to me in the hallway here just a couple of minutes ago, I thought this was interesting. He goes, shouldn't it be that way though? He's like, he's like, if we're celebrating the thing, he's like, isn't coming back to life
me and him are gonna
the bigger
to see how we can
than being born at all? He's like, you would think that would be the day we celebrate.
Cover off of my power supply,
with the gifts
so that we can figure out how to get it out the next
the gift
when I actually do.
Is really a push from the secular world to get away from as much Christianity.
Because that's really the only thing that's going to stop me from putting a new one in there, so that I can't access the old one.
My father was one of those guys where Xmas written that way.
Or at least I don't know how to access it. So
didn't want it.
We're gonna
would be driving by it and he would just
tear open my computer.
I'll kind of give you one of those when I'm just like over some of the idiots I have to deal with. Like, oh my God. But like he would see the Xmas and it drove that out nuts. David and I knew we were hearing about that the rest of the ride home.
650 watt power supply.
Like, oh man, don't get him started. Here he goes, right?
And replace the old one with that.
So I think that's really what the present thing's about. It's about trying to take Christianity out of the holidays. As a matter of fact, did you see this the other day?
They should.
I don't know why this bothers me, but it does. If I'm honest, this has bothered me for about 2 days. And I don't know why. But there was a headline, and it was only one that I've seen, where they were talking about a busload of people. And they called them Easter worshipers. And I was like, yeah, I don't love that. The word is Christian. Even Catholics identify as being part of the Christian community. Why are we so afraid of this word now? When did this word become dirty and bad and something you need to be ashamed to have attached to you? I'm not a religious person. I'm not going to church Sunday. I'm not doing that. But seriously, when did we become that? It just seems strange to me. And again, I know I've probably been harping on this a little too much over like the last month, but it is true. You're like called a bigot if you don't know everything about every last religion from around the globe. But if you respect the religion, that everybody on your street had growing up, apparently you're public enemy number one. Like, I just don't get that. It's not Easter worship. It's Christian. That's who it is. You can say it. Nothing bad will happen.
The Stan Sperry Show.
I like his energy. He doesn't have any.
On Rock 106.9.
This report is sponsored by Discount Drug Mart.
You're never too old for a good morning kiss. The Stan Sperry Show. Rock 106.9.
For the past 2 months, I couldn't find one of my games for my PS3, and I was looking around in my my games so that I could see so I could find a different one. And then as I opened up one of the cases, I saw that game. I was like, oh, so I was just being stupid for the past 2 months. Because it was in a game case that didn't have the game that was supposed to be in that case, but it was but that game was still.
I've lost so many CDs like that.
But it was still part of the same series, and I think what happened was...
DVDs.
Yeah, I think what happened was because it's the Batman Arkham games, and I had Batman Arkham Origins, but I put it in the case for Batman Arkham Asylum, because Batman Arkham Asylum case wasn't being used, and I couldn't find my Origin case, so I was like, okay, I'll just put it in there, because it's the same series, and I know that I don't have Arkham Origins. So, like, it's the same series, I don't know which game it is.
I bought a couple different Tool CDs, like a couple different times, because I couldn't find them. Thought I lost them or whatever. I found them in other CD covers, other CD cases and stuff.
I'm gonna be okay. Come back.
We didn't have tornadoes here a until we started putting into traffic circles.
Speed demons are a tyranny that's plaguing the streets of our city.
Because on the counter, you want to know why? When people go round and round in circles, it causes disturbance in the atmosphere and causes tornadoes.
We need more cops to stop those speed demons.
They're making laws where you can't drink when you want to.
Did you have any bad weather up here the other night?
Pretty soon we're going to be calm in this country.
Nothing too horrible, just
I might not be in the mood to deal with white snow.
We had
heavy thunderstorm.
We had to take cover in Walmart. Tornado went through.
Oh, did it go through Italy and Dover?
There was a funnel. I don't think it actually touched down, but yeah, I just picked her up from work. I had to stop at Walmart to get some stuff, and
With this bitch.
Now the big station.
sirens started going off.
Yeah, you must have caught
Welcome
the
back to
tail
the
end of
Stansbury
it,
Show on Rock 106.9.
Pretty sure it started in
both the day and the week. Did get through a lot today,
Columbus,
including Odell Beckham shit.
like a touchdown
Out there
in
started
Columbus.
photos with his mother's
Oh,
got her
it did?
boobs hanging out. And
Well, that
burial
specific
and everything.
tornado, I'm pretty
Posted
sure it
on
started in
Instagram.
Columbus.
Crying out
Probably
loud. That was
There's
gross. I didn't
was
like
just
it. I didn't feel uncomfortable.
a bunch of
Not a big
different
fan of that.
storms that came across
Talked
the
about that a
area.
little bit. Talked about why can't we fight them?
We got ours.
Come on, but
we got
one of the
ours
most
about
famous
10
people
o'clock.
alive. We haven't seen him. We don't know where he is. I mean, really? There are literally organizations who that's what their purpose in life is to find the celebrity person. We don't know where he is. Yeah, I don't know if I buy it. I'm sorry, that one I don't know if I buy. LeBron's being dragged into this now over having been in a social media video with him and apparently had been at a party. I don't think that means he knows anything. He could, but I don't think it means it for sure. Talked about that. A few other things as well, including Sean Strickland thinking that he can beat up a Navy SEAL just because he's been a UFC fighter. It's like, well, maybe you could. I don't think I'd be out here telling Navy SEALs they're not tough. I think that's probably a bad idea. I think one of them's going to want to find you in the street and kind of, let's test this theory out, Sean. Let's see how this one goes. And I got to be honest with you, I'd almost like to see it, right? They'll do it in the street. Let's maybe get everybody, let's maybe create a street fight.
Looking at a specific area.
Take the octagon away from Sean and, just get two tough guys out there and see if they can, see what happens. Okay, fair enough.
They have this,
I think he's going to find himself in a little bit of a predicament with that before. If you missed anything this morning, pick up the podcast shortly. That at WURQK.com. Aside from that, done for the day.
It's basically a large
won't be back live until Monday. Stay safe out there. Be good to one another. Have a fantastic holiday weekend. And do, in fact, meet me here Monday morning at 6 a.m. for next week's program on Rock 106.9. That's all of it, right? That's normally all I say. Yeah, whatever the hell else I missed, just have a great Easter, and I'll talk to you Monday.
What are all the tears about? Well, with today's medicines, hepatitis C can be cured. In fact, today's treatments often come in pills with cure rates of 95% or higher. If you don't treat Hep C, 2.4 million people in the U.S. living with Hep C, but you don't have to. Talk to a healthcare provider about today's Hep C cures. It's something worth cheering about. Go to hepchope.com to learn more.
Aggressive behavior at school and a higher earning later in life. Why? I'm not shocked by that, if I'm honest. Squeaky wheels get the grease. And you think, well, squeaky wheel's going to be the whiny kid, but not really. Most times the whiny kid suffers in silence and doesn't tell anybody anything. The loud kid in class, that's normally you have more confidence, right? As a class clown, myself, not necessarily a bully, but the attention on me all the time in school, I made sure. And what one of my teachers told my parents is, this kid's got an insane amount of confidence. Like when it comes to him being able to say this, have the answer, be ready to go, he'd go. He's not necessarily the first in line to want to shoot free throws and he's not necessarily the most active kid when it comes to gym class. But once you get him in a classroom, he's insanely confident. Too much so. And that's why we're dealing with the eruptions. So I buy that. I also recognize that schools are competitive places, much like an office. You ever hear this? High school never ends. It doesn't. Now, I think this is maybe more true in my industry than some others, and I would definitely underline that. But this is so click-based. Every radio building I've ever worked in, they don't sit with them. That person doesn't sit with them. These are the cool kids. It's always click-based. I'm sure your office is too. We wear pink on Thursdays, or whatever the hell the day was. I don't even remember which one it was, right? It's all very click-based. They say it's possible that our classrooms are competitive places that children adapt to win the competition with aggression. And then they take that through the workplace where they continue to compete aggressively for the best paid jobs. Perhaps we need to reconsider discipline in schools and help to channel this characteristic in children in a more positive way. I'm not surprised that the kid who feels a little shy, not the best at making friends. I mean, if you're not outgoing, are you going to interview well? Now, I say that, but I had a boss once tell me, his name was Mike, he was running the promotions department at the Buzzard, and that was the first job I ever had. I was hired in as an intern in the promotions department. And he said to me once after I got hired, you were one of the worst, but you're the best employee I've ever had. Off well in that interview. I was just a little nervous. I also wore really nice clothes. Like I was like in a suit and everybody else was in AC/DC t-shirts. My dad told me, he's like, don't do it. He's like, everybody's going to show up there looking lackadaisical thinking they're going to a party. Go like you're going to a business. He goes, if you lose out because you were dressed too nice, then you didn't want to be there anyway. He ended up being a little bit right about that. But I was a little timid in that interview. Way more than I would ever be now. But I can't be surprised that kids that are confident enough to push somebody else around, are coming off better in interviews. I can't be shocked by that. Not at all. They found that an increase in teachers' observations of conduct problems such as temper outbursts and bullying or teasing other children was associated with an increase in earnings. Nearly 4% for a given rise in conduct problems both for men and women. Those considered to have attention problems, such as failing to finish tasks, emotional problems, seen as worried, anxious, or fussy, went on to earn less than their classmates. Yes. Americans like confidence. Now, this is a UK study, so I guess that's really just a human being thing. Human beings like confidence. What do you want your president to be? Confident. If he's aw shucks, staring at his shoes, kicking the dirt, not strong enough. What do you want your quarterback to be? Strong. Leader. I know not everybody has those skills naturally. I want to say that's okay, but like apparently it isn't. Because you're going to earn less money. Now, am I telling you to go raise the bully who pushes the kid down on thing? No, because I think you could have all the confidence in the world. You could be this kind of person and not necessarily have to take it out on somebody else. Was I a little too guilty of teasing kids growing up? Sure I was. Sure I was. Was a lot of that about not having the attention on what I didn't want people to know about me? They're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. A neighbor touched me. Everybody's going to figure it out. Oh my God. I'm worried they're all going to figure it out. Oh my God. Everybody's going to find out my secret. Oh my God. And then I kept the attention on everybody else. You're never going to find out, man. Even though I'm talking more than anybody else in the world, you're never going to find out. And then one day, kind of came out on a show, and the pace was out of the tube and there was no going back. But I was a grown-up, or at least by age I was. Further analysis showed that by age 16, those with conduct problems were more sociable as teenagers and were more likely to smoke and be arrested at some point in their lives too. Not surprised by that. They say that the expectations about children's behavior had changed since the 1980s, and many participants had dropped out of the study as well, which they say could be leading to some of the numbers that they're saying. And obviously, plenty of successful people in life have been teased or bullied at school. Like what they're saying here is those would be more outlierish versus what the standard is. Most people who are aggressive end up earning more money. I'm not surprised by that. Most people who make decent money in companies near here would be what? Middle management. And when I think about a bully, that's exactly who middle management is. Now, having said that, that's not true where I work. I work for a guy who I believe became a bully because he was never able to be one while he was at school as a kid. Fat and chubby and didn't look good, and I think that's what drove him to the radio business. He will tell you that early on in his management, he was a nightmare to deal with. So many people told me when I was taking the job, like, bro, you don't know about him? Like, you may want to look into this. And it's not been my experience, and he and I have had the conversation plenty of times. It's like, yeah, man, I was young, and I made some mistakes early on in my leadership. He's like, I try very hard to get all of that corrected, and I've told you before, I think I have the best boss I've ever had in the history of me working in the industry. But I believe he got to middle management and was obsessed about doing that and wanted to be in leadership because he never had any of that in school. He was always the kid who was kind of overlooked, needed the attention, wasn't getting it, was the kid who was pushed around, taking off the lunch money. And so then he found leadership later on in his life. But just because that's what's happened with my direct report doesn't necessarily mean that's true overall. Again, he would be an outlier. What they're telling you here is a 5-decade study tells us that by and large, aggressive people end up making more money. And I just am not going to be shocked by that. I'm aggressive and I am confident. I make a lot more money than some of my counterparts who I went to high school with who have degrees and work in serious fields.
The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show, Rock 106.9, where we've been telling you about this study done. 5-decade long. UK finds aggressive bullies on the playground earn more money throughout life. Now, it did say in here multiple times they end up with more middle management type jobs, and I can't be surprised by this. The same quality that can go into a bully can also be the same kind of person who can get the attention needed and respect of, like, you get it done, right? Like, there's something in that. So I believe some of this. I think it will change. Again, they ended this study 2016. They started in the 70s. And so, like, or I think even before that even. But they say without a shadow of a doubt, like, people who are a little bit more shy, mild-mannered, and all of that, they make way less money. And it's like, well, yeah, like, those people lack confidence. And the more confident you are, the more likely you are to apply for a better job, the more likely you are to be in the circle of cool people at work to where you would be considered for said job. And don't kid yourself, that's a big part of it. Huge part of it. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. Said by either people who have hit the very top of the ladder and they can afford to say it, celebrities and the like, or the people who are never going to step on the ladder at all. If you listen to any celebrity who tells you, oh, I don't care what anybody thinks about me, now, yet when you listen to how they became a celebrity, I was picked on, I was pushed, I was blah, 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 nobody believed I could do anything, and I dedicated my entire life to proving all of those people wrong. Wait, so you did care about what they were saying about you so much that you internalized and made it motivation to succeed? So you did care what they think. Huh. Well, isn't that interesting? You, of course, care what people think about you. Do you care what your kids think about you? They're people. You should care what your boss thinks about you. Your career and your future are decided most times when you're not in the room. People liking you, you being seen as a team player, you being easy to be around. Bosses are a lot like your friends throwing a dinner party. Hey, we're all going to get together Friday night, have a little dinner, and play a little cards at my house. Want to invite Bill and Stacy? Dude, Stacy's kind of a drag, right? Like, we're going to be talking about something, somebody's going to say something, she's going to be the, you know. Like, people don't want to be around people like that. They don't. Most people don't want to sit around and have to second guess everything they're thinking or saying every minute of the day. So they avoid people like that. Why do you think there are entire industries made up of people like that? The tech companies, the social media companies, because they didn't fit anywhere else. So they created their own thing where they could all go with their blue hair and cry about how unfair the world is while they make 5 times the amount of money you and I make together. Fun game we're playing, ain't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Bullies are confident. Now, a lot of them would be what I tell you Baker Mayfield is, which I think is a little bit more cocky than confident, and I would agree with that. But I've worked for a lot of middle managers in my life who I could tell were bullies growing up, for sure. For sure. I don't work for anybody who would have been a bully now. And I've said the opposite about them, where I feel like, no, because they were kind of picked on, they were like, no, I need power in my life. I don't have it on the playground. I'm going to get it in my life. And I think that those people exist too. Plenty of successful people, whether it be business or celebrity, whatever it is, have been the person who people pick on constantly. And then we're like, I'll show you. I think they're outliers. And I think that's what this study is telling us. I think it could change, though, as, again, they ended this study in 2016. The world has changed dramatically in what we'll round up and call 10 years, right? Well, versus even long before that. And this is what I mean. I think more jobs are becoming more geared towards the emotional, quiet kid. They're less physical. They're less what we consider man's work. And so, like, you don't necessarily need to be the tough dude. A lot of offices don't want that kind of mentality in it anymore. I'm going to tell you this, and a lot of you are going to hate it, but it's true. You know why a lot of companies are turning around and telling you how important it is to dial down the aggression, dial down this, and be a little bit more meek and nice and this? You're way less likely to demand a raise. You're way less likely to cause controversy in there about everything not being right. Oh, you'll cry about it. Oh, you'll blog about it. But you're not the kind of person who's going to put them between a rock and a hard place to give you what you want. That ultra-confident person absolutely will walk in there and tell them that. That's why they want offices full of the other kid. I'm just here to tell you. It's just part of it. Managers want people who will work for them. That's what they want. They're not looking for people who are so confident that they can replace me, meaning the middle manager, not me, Dan Stansberry. Not shocked by it. Does bum me out. My brother's kid is confident in her intelligence. And you get her on a basketball court, whew, that kid's got all the confidence you need. But she's probably the more likely kid to be picked on, and she is different. She's Native American, so, you know, she has to deal with all of that every day. And all of that comes with that. Although she's walking down hallways and all that stuff, she deals with it all the time. And she's probably more likely to be picked on. Now, we think she's probably going to be okay because she's really intelligent, like scary, off the charts intelligent. So at the end of the day, she'll most likely be fine. There are other kids in my life who I love, and I think about him all the time. And he's little. And he's going to be little forever. He's just kind of undersized. And he's not necessarily the most confident kid, you know? And he's a little bit more, his teachers will tell you, oh my God, he's the sweetest boy ever. It's yes ma'am, no ma'am, holding doors for people, please and thank you. Little girls wait at the front door for him so they can walk him down the hallway. Like, he's that kid. But that kid is who gets pushed around in the 8th grade. And every day I worry about it. We're years away, and already I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna cry every day when this kid comes home, right? Like, I'm not gonna love that, and it has me a little worried about that. But what I've told his mother is the world is changing every single day. Your kid's a big thinker. He's interested, and he wants to know how things work, and he likes to tinker, and he likes to build, and he's into the right things. He's into the right stuff, and I think that the world is rotating in the right direction for people like that. So I think this study could have been accurate. I'm not sure we'll be sitting here in another 10 years having the same conversation. I think things can flip over time. Having said all of that, I don't think it's ever a bad idea to have confidence. Now, I've told you before, and I maintain I'm right. Don't fake it till you make it now. Faking it till you make it is Baker Mayfield. That guy is not confident. That's why he has to tell you Mary Kay Cabot's bad, the media's bad, nobody likes me, blah, blah, blah.